Hello. So I know Neil just went and I'm so tired, but I've had a lot of online questions today and I know a lot of stores have closed. They've been mandated and I'm so grateful, so grateful for Neil and his guidance, specifically with the mandates and what we can and cannot do. So since I've had a lot of questions about the online specific, I just wanted to talk about specifically online. So the number one thing is you should have a list right now of stuff that this pandemic has actually taught you about your business. I have at least a page and a half. I have learned that I don't need nearly as many people doing what it is they are doing, and that I can definitely be more specific in their job descriptions and their requirements. And that's not just online, that's in general. It's amazing when push comes to shove. I don't think we can maintain this pace forever, but it gives me a really good idea of how that works. The other thing is, I know as store owners, depending on how big or little or how big our operations are, it really depends on how much we actually physically work in the store. And right now with this happening, I think a lot of us are physically working in the stores. So it's kind of giving us an idea of how things are operating or not operating at optical peak. And I have a list, a solid list of a page and a half for what I definitely need to change. Now, one of the things that people keep reaching out to me about is the live videos and our website. So I think there's two separate things, so I'd like to address them separately. Feel free to watch this video later. I know you guys are tired and I'm not nearly as exciting as Neil. I don't dance and I'm not drinking because I'm really trying hard to stay on some type of a diet. Let's all laugh. Anyway, so here's the deal. Your e-commerce store. So if you are completely shut down, or we are all basically headed to that direction as far as being mandated, it's actually, believe it or not, a really good time to sincerely sit down and look at that. The reason that most of you guys don't do an e-commerce store if you don't have it is because number one, it just overwhelms you, and number two, you just don't have the time. We now actually have the time to really sit down and look at it. If you already have a website, now is an excellent time. I just did this today. I made 3 pages of notes of stuff that we need to update, we need to change, that's really hard for people to shop from, categories that don't look good. If you don't have a website, there are fantastic programs out there. I can't speak to them all. I've used both Traxia and Liberty, and they both have great platforms where you can actually set up, and I know right now they're really willing to work with you. Now, are you going to launch a website tomorrow and make $1 million? It's a possible, but probably not likely. But you could come out of this pandemic with a beastly website that's ready to launch and, be amazing. The other thing is if you physically do it and you work with whatever program you choose to work with to set this up, you actually know how it works. The biggest thing that owners run into when they have a e-commerce website is not knowing the ins and outs, so they're relying on employees to do it, and they don't necessarily do the job that you require. I think the number one question that I get from people is, what are your requirements for an online person that you hire? Well, I do have requirements. Now, the last couple days has shown me how stringent or non-stringent some of my requirements are. In a 5 or 6 hour period, whatever shift they work, how many items do I think they should be able to list online? What is the caliber of picture? What type of picture should be taking? Should it all be the same backdrop? Should it all be the same wording? If you're using an integrated system the way Liberty and Traxia both have it set up, your descriptions are paramount. Are your items easily searchable on Google? I know it just threw a lot of things at you. If you don't speak e-commerce, you're like, wow, it is too late for this. So what I'm saying is bite off the pie one thing at a time. The thing with e-commerce websites are none of us have the money to really push them out on SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. SEO is kind of the Google ads that you actually purchase. Most of us do not have the financial resources to push that to the maximum like Amazon, where we'll just naturally pop up. So for us, it has to be a connected fluid motion. So you cannot simply just have a website and it's not going to just do its job by itself. You have to have it all together. Right now, we don't physically have our stores open. So we have to have our fluidity in a couple of different aspects. We want them to go to the website because we want to show them all the fabulous things we have on that website. But in order for them to go to the website, a lot of times we have to advertise or socially post on Instagram or Facebook. Well, that goes to my circle. I know you guys heard me talk this past whatever, I don't even know what month we're in. I feel like it's been like a year in the last couple days. Recently, within the last 12 months, I did a talk at one of the NARTS conventions, and I talked a lot about my circle. My circle is actually open-ended, though. It kind of goes like this. You have the start and the finish. And the whole objective is what goes in that circle. Most of us are way too busy to complete that circle to perfection. Now is a time to actually do that. So in your circle, whatever your circle is, your circle should always start with the pricer, who is actually pricing your items, and that person is key because not only do they have to have the right price, they have to have the right description and label. That is really, really important because if they are not putting it into the system correctly, then that means it will not be searchable correctly. They just can't call it a brown purse. It has to be a brown fossil purse. You know, if you're going to be pushing this out, I don't know what both systems can do, but I know that Traxia and Liberty both have options, or they're working on options. I know Liberty has it. I'm not sure if Traxia does 100% yet, but I know both of them are really work well with you guys, and they'll answer any questions. But if you're looking long term down the road, you want to ideally push that to eBay, and that actually is pushed to eBay without you doing necessarily a ton of extra work. It's still extra work, but it's not a ton. So now you're checking in. That pricer is number one. That is your key person. So if that pricer is putting in that purse, now let's think a little bit further. Okay, so you're trying to get someone to buy something on your website, and you're trying to do it without them asking you or private messaging you or emailing you 1,000 questions. So let's think a little bit further, and this can actually apply for anything: jewelry, housewares, home decor. So now that purse, that is a fossil brown leather purse that's 14 inches width. Is it new with tags? You can put the retail amount. Is there a better description? It's actually the Sally. It's the Sally brand on the fossil purses. Whatever it is, that is why your number one person, which is your pricer, is the paramount. You guys are probably the only ones really working in your store right now, so you can really test this to the nth degree. So now let's go to the second part of your circle. You don't currently have a website, but you're launching one. Okay, well, you started at the number one, which is the top of the circle, and that is the pricer. You have now, number one, cherry-picked the items that you want on your website. Please do yourself a favor and do not just pick the best of what you have. I'm not talking about condition, I'm talking about price. If you are a store that covers the whole family, but you only put Chanel on your website, guess what people are going to think? You only carry, or you're too snobby to take their items. So really think about this. I personally, when I go through and I've taught my pricers, it has to be cute, trendy, sellable, and fashionable. Those are my four things: cute, trendy, sellable, and fashionable. So if it's a new with tags, Old Navy, really fun, brightly colored top that we only priced at $5 and we really think it would sell, it's going on the website. If it's the new Chanel, double flat purse that we just priced at $2,500, it's also going on the website. So it gives us this whole variety for whoever is shopping. Now this stuff is going to our website. Okay, so now this is going to our website. So the website is not going to work alone. Well, now we're going to take this and we're going to actually post it onto Instagram. Now we choose Instagram to post after our website. We always put it to our website, and let me tell you why that is the first notch on my circle. Because I decided a year and a half ago that I wanted our website to be a driving force, and I didn't want people to handicap and use Facebook and Instagram as a way, because they're too lazy to buy it on the website, to use that as a way just to go there first. If we put the sense of urgency and put it on a website first and then follow the stuff on the bottom, that actually will force them to go straight back to the website because they want that sense of urgency and they know it is now live on the website. And we've really trained people. We've done a really good job of it this year, so we see that flow back and forth. People still ask for invoices and we do accommodate them, but in the middle of the night when somebody asks at 2 a.m. and nobody answers, so a lot of times, about 70% of the time, they see the message, go to our website, they go to our website and purchase. So we have transferred that person. Also, and this is just kind of getting off course a little bit, but when you're setting up your website right now, this is the optimal time to really look at the finite points. For example, what are your categories? How easy are they to shop? And what do you accept for payment? That will crush or raise your website as fast as possible. What type of payments? Do you take Google Pay, Amazon Pay, PayPal, and regular credit cards through whoever you use? We currently use Shopify, so we use Shopify as their credit card processing. We use Amazon, we use PayPal, we use Google Pay, and then we use Apple Pay. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of different options. And all of those percentages aren't exactly optimal. Some of them do charge more. It's not about that. It's about ease. Nobody wants to get their credit card out to shop on your website. They want to swipe. And this is going to be a personal opinion. I say that because it's really important, because this is my personal opinion. This is not the Bible. Do not make them set up an account with you. Trust me, they're going to be logging their email with you, and that's really important. But if you force people to set up an account with you, you may lose that sale. I know, and a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and that's okay, because this is what works for us, and it may not work for you. So please do what's important and what works for you. But it's really important. Take a look at that. When I go onto a website, I check out as a guest all the time, because quite honestly, I just don't want to deal with the thing with filling out all my information. I shop all the time from Facebook ads all the time, and I go to the websites that I can check out as a guest, and then it always has those buttons, Amazon or Apple, and I just swipe to purchase. I am super lazy like the rest of our clients. I do not want to fill out all this information. So it's that easy grab and go. So while you're setting up your website, if you're in the beginning stages, or if you already have a website, this is something you should definitely re-look at. Also look at your consignment policies and how this works, and you could possibly start doing blogs. That's a really good connection. Your website I consider it as a base, and then you just grow to it. So now you have this base. Now you've got this fantastic pricer. She's grabbing the stuff. She's labeling it correctly. And you may not be going to eBay right now, but that's okay, because she's labeling it correctly. Now you need to make sure that it's visibly correct on your website. And this is where you work with your developers, whoever that is, whether it's Traxia or Liberty or Monkeys and Hats or another website developer, whatever it is you choose. This is where it's really important to make sure that the categories you are choosing to show are shown. Also really take into account, go into a whole bunch of websites and shop them. So a lot of different stores, and this again goes down to matter of opinion and shopping. They want to shop by price, size, color, category. What do you think your clients want to shop by? Make it really simple. I personally went back and forth with my developer, and we decided on a shoe category and then the option to shop by size and brand. I did not go shoe category, sandal, boot, flat, sneaker, because it was just too much for my client. So these are the questions you need to ask yourself and really think about it. Do you want a bottoms category, or do you want a shorts, bottoms, skirts? How many times are your clients going to click to get through to all of this stuff? And especially while you're training them now into your website. These are questions that you can really sit down and hammer out over the next couple weeks, and you can take it a day at a time and really, really think about it. The best way to do this is to go to a whole bunch of websites. You don't have to purchase from them, but click through them and try to purchase, because it's really going to give you an idea what frustrates you and what possibly benefits you, and what are things that you really like. That some of them pop up with sign up to our email list and get 10% off today, or 15, or whatever discount they offer, and that can be set up by, again, your developers. All this stuff does cost time, and it does cost money. So please be patient, because these may cost different financial, and you can put those on the back burner if it's something you cannot afford right now. So now you have this fantastic pricer. She is now selecting fantastic items for you to put on your website, whomever that person is, and then they're now going to your website. What we then do is we post them on Instagram. Now, let me tell you why we post them on Instagram third instead of Facebook first. We post them on Instagram because I am lazy and I connect my Instagram to my Facebook. That's another thing a lot of people aren't going to agree with, and that is okay. The beauty of this is you take the nuggets that you like, and the rest of them, throw them out the door. It is not going to hurt my feelings. It's all about what works well for you. So we post them on Instagram because our Instagram and our Facebook is connected, which means anything I post on Instagram immediately connects to my Facebook. So that is enormous, because you just posted on two places at once. And did you know that on average, less than 3%, 3. That's disgusting. Less than 3%, thanks to the algorithms on Facebook and Instagram, of anything you post is actually shown to your clientele. So as far as I'm concerned, I could post the same content in 75 different options, and for every option I do, it's a 3% gain. So if I post it on Instagram and Facebook at the exact same time, I have a 6% chance of anybody seeing it, much less them seeing it double. So I am totally for, double posting the same information and not having to recreate it. And by the way, the picture that we post is the same picture that we post on the website. That may not work for you because you may want to have your website all be white pictures, all white background, all black background, all colorful background. Again, it's a choice you need to make. Go onto websites and see what works well for you. So for me, I'm all about static, and it's exactly what is happening in live. So whatever my girls get together for Instagram, because it's usually it's a much nicer picture. The clothing is on a person, so whatever they post on Instagram or whatever they post on the website, that picture is going to then transfer Instagram, Facebook, and our VIP group. So I just posted the exact same picture to 4 groups, and I know that is such a no-no in the social media world. It works for us. You have to find what works for you. So now I just covered a lot, and if you're just starting into the e-commerce world, that just may have been, way too much. Cannot do any more than that. And that's okay. The circle, the best thing about the circle is it's your circle. It is nobody else's circle. But the circle is a diet, which means you have to stay on it and you have to be consistent. If you consistently follow your circle for 6 months, I guarantee you will see a bump in your sales. It's not even questionable. So now we're going to go further into my circle. This is, again, my circle. It does not have to be yours. So I have my pricer. They have priced fantastic things. They have selected them. They have now gone to the website. They have now gone to Instagram, which is automatically connected to my Facebook. I have then posted them to my group page in a different sort of way. Now I am going to go live with them or whoever else is there. So you see the complete circle goes around. I also personally then go to eBay, Tradesy, Pinterest. Let's not discuss that tonight. It's a lot of information. A lot of times when I start people on a circle, when I'm consulting them, I usually start them with 2 or 3 options because it's just too overwhelming. And that is a great platform to build on. And I leave them there for 6 to 8 months before they perfect it. So you take that into account. So if you don't want to do Instagram or Facebook, you can go straight from pricer, listing to live. And that's okay. So this is our requirement. So we feel like by the time everything rotates and we give it a time limit, our time limit is 24 hours. I want to see whatever starts up here with the pricer process all the way through in 24 hours. That way I have hammered, remember that 3% option, all these people. The other thing is training the people. Since I'm doing the website first, they know a lot of my people are really sneaky. So unless I say these are new items that have not been added to the website, they know that by the time I do a live video, that the item is most likely on my website. So I cannot tell you how many people now, it's like a game. They watch me, they watch the item, they watch me turn it around, discuss it, show it's on me, show the purse, show the shoe, whatever it is, and then they go to the website and buy it while I'm live on the video. So it's really awesome because it creates a culture. So I say all this to say, what is it that you have learned through this pandemic? Because I'm going to tell you what, I got a long list. The number one thing that I have learned is we talk a lot about online stores and e-commerce and how much work our brick and mortar stores are. And oh my gosh, wouldn't it be nice just to close our stores and eat cupcakes and just do social media? Somebody who has literally done exactly that without the cupcakes for 10 days, I am telling you now, I am counting the days down until I reopen my stores. I have a whole new respect for brick and mortar, and I have a whole new respect for simply online. It is grueling, and there is nothing going in. If you're having a lazy day and we've already had money done in the store, I don't necessarily have to do a live video or have our social media top and ready. When you're only doing online, you have to be on every day, and it is grueling. So I have really learned that our online is really kind of like the circle. It's this fluid circle. So if I was being really honest with myself, I redid my circle this afternoon. Our brick and mortar is actually the start. Now we put our brick and mortar at the very top because the brick and mortar is actually the start. Then it's the pricer, and then it goes down the row. So what have we learned? We have learned that the two together, married, are dynamite. What can you do to make that a possibility? If you are in the process of building your website or you have not started and you are scared to, now is an excellent time. Pick up the phone, set an appointment. A lot of them don't have huge startup fees for the website. It really just takes a lot of brain power of deciding what it is you want. Remember, your website is kind of like the SBA loan. You don't have to get all the blanks filled in right. Just get it off the ground. You're going to switch it 1,000 times between now and 10 years from now. So don't be over worried about it being perfect. Get it off the ground. Play with it. Now is the time. You actually have the time. Now let's talk about something else. Expectations. Most of you guys are working alone now. Owners, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I already can hear the excuses coming through the phone. I can't take pictures. Yes, you can. It is very hard to expect something from somebody else that you do not have a general knowledge of. That does not mean you have to be an expert at it. It just simply means you need a general knowledge. If you hire an online person, which I strongly suggest, you guys have so much on your plate. It is no way for you to be 100% consistent online and to do a circle while you're trying to be 100% consistent, a boss, in front of the public eye, helping, tackling all the issues. You need to hire. Not right now, though. You need to hire. Once this is all over, you need to hire. And you have your website up and running, you need to hire someone solely to take pictures. And that person should not know how to check out on the register. That should be a job requirement that you would have written up by the end of this couple weeks, because you would have done the job. It doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be amazing. It just has to be realistic. That way, when you hire somebody, I know, because I've done this for years, we have a tendency to be resourceful, because that's really what we're good at, is being resourceful. So when we're resourceful, we use employees we already have. What happens when you use employees you already have for an e-commerce position? It gets busy. Could you help Sally? Could you check her out? Could you check her account? All my online people literally don't even know how to answer the phone. And I love it because it forces them to stay on task, and it forces my employees not to even visibly see them beyond what everybody wants for lunch. So that's really key. I cannot stress that enough. And it also keeps it consistent. If that person is working every single day for you, or 3 days a week for you, or 2 days a week for you, it is a consistency that is happening over and over and over again. And that is going to create a consistency no matter what is happening in your world as the owner, or what do you have on your plate. So that is important. Get that. Now let's talk about requirements. All right. I realize you're not a photographer, and that's fine. And I realize you probably don't, you may or may not know what a hashtag is. And the thought of DMing or PMing anything just makes you feel old. Stop it. This stuff is changing so quickly. I feel old half the time when they're talking about it. TikTok and WhatsApp and chat. I can't keep up with it all. I have to do what works well for me. But the thing that I've done a lot of recently is I've been doing a lot of live videos, and I've been doing a lot of posting, and I've been doing a lot of pictures. So it's really good, I find, to do this every couple of months myself. So because your employees that you hire, I just can't do it. I just can't list that much stuff. I had 5 hours. How am I seriously supposed to do that? Okay, well, if they really come to you with those concerns, it is important that you do not brush that off. You actually physically go do the work. And number one, see how it is you feel afterwards. Are you drained? Could you physically do that again the next day? Or are your expectations realistic? So now is an excellent time to take those items that your pricer that we talked about earlier has priced, and you put them on your wheelhouse, whatever it is that you want. If you want all those items photographed, time yourself photographing all those items. If you're putting them on your website, you need more than one photo. How many photos do you want per item? These are the guidelines you should be writing right now before you hire somebody. For every pair of shoes, I want 5 pictures. I want the front, the back, the bottom, the heel, the side. For every single purse, I want 9 pictures. I want the front, the back, the serial number, for Pete's sake, the stitching, and the corners. For every single dress, I want 4 pictures. You should have this for every single category. That way there is a manual, it is set up, and you are ready to go when you hire that person. And there is no wishy-washy, I don't know, what do you think? What do you think? No, you are in control. You are the boss. You have to emphasize this. You have to have this. And by the way, Nobody's perfect. I have totally stumbled along working with my employees and learning this, and we learn something new as we progress. So we set new barriers. We set new standards. Do you have a set Instagram post? With every single Instagram post that we do, we have a set saying. Do you have that already written down so that they can simply write it down, copy and post, copy and post, copy and post? Is there something you want in every single Instagram post? When you post a shirt, do you want the shirt title, the shirt size, the shirt price, the shirt MSRP? Do you want a condition? What do you want? You need to have a consistency. Also, in your posting, on my personal Instagram post, what we say is, to purchase the items, here are 3 options. Number 1, best option. You can go to our Instagram and read this verbatim, and y'all can copy it. I could care less. Please purchase it off our website. Number 2, you're welcome to drop a PayPal or email request, but please understand it's only during business hours. Or number 3, you can call the store during open hours, and we'd be happy to send you an invoice. So we're giving them options. We then have a whole bunch of hashtags, which again is another thing a lot of people don't like to do, is constant hashtags. We do because it's just simpler for our process, and we change them up every couple weeks. Yes, Jana, oh my gosh, a good photographer will pay for themselves 10 times over, which is why when you get out of this pandemic and you know exactly what your job requirement is and exactly what your expectations are, you're going to hire a photographer, and that's actually what you're going to be looking for in the Indeed world, a photographer. You're not going to hire somebody that just is a warm body that can stand there. You're going to hire somebody who's a photographer. And now we're really going to take you out of your comfort zone. That person does not need to have set hours. Stop it. Don't do it. I know. Somebody just had a heart attack. I need to have set hours. Okay, well, here's the deal, right? Photographers and really creative people don't have time for that. They have a life and they have a lot going on. If they're super talented, they have work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if they're actresses or actors or models, they've got auditions and all this other stuff. You simply tell them, I need you to work this many hours this week or this many hours a day. I don't care when you come in. I don't care if you come in at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't care if you come in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is all I need done. Having that flexibility, and I know that goes against the grain, gets you a higher quality of talent, and they can get it done compressed fast in a short amount of time. So now we have our parameters. Now you know what type of person you want to have. Now you know, right? Because you physically have taken the pictures. You worked your butt end off and you are like, oh my gosh, I am literally falling over, but I took 84 pictures. Okay, so if I want to maintain an employee, I probably need to back that down a little bit. To like 45 pictures. But that then gives you a requirement so that if you need to let that person go later, you can simply say, listen, this is my requirement. If you work for me as a photographer, as an online person, you are required to put 45 items on our website with, here's your manual, this many pictures per item depending on what it is. Oh, and by the way, I also need you to list on Instagram. I need you to list 22 items to our Instagram feed, be specific, and I need you to list 25 items to our, oh my goodness, I just forgot the word. Not the circle. It's not the circle. The stories. Sorry, the stories. So now I need you to list to the stories. So you're requiring all these requirements, but you can't really do this unless you've done it yourself and you can kind of get the gist. We now have taken it a step further. I actually ask them also to post once a week on IGTV or once every 2 days on IGTV. We actually have multiple Instagram accounts, so I have separation things. I also have a couple of them that all they do is post on Tradesy. I have another girl that all she does is post on eBay. You've got to get specific, but in order for you to get specific, you need to know what it is you actually need. So this time is literally a gift. Use it. Get your e-commerce in place. Know exactly what it is that you want on your e-commerce, and then realize that your e-commerce is worthless without anything being pushed to it. So unless you got $10,000+ to push to e-commerce, Google AdWords, you need to do it organically. And organically is done through social. Social can be Instagram, Facebook, a group chat, live videos, or emails. Do not forget your emails. That's part of our circle too. Okay, so Clara, Clara just asked, how long would your employee take to post 50 items to a website? I think that comes down to what your requirements are. You first and foremost need to create a circle. In that circle, these are your daily requirements for what you're trying to post on, okay? Then you back that off and decide how many items can actually be posted on multiple different feeds. If they're doing their job right, they really are only taking pictures one time and then splattering them throughout, but that does take a little while. The last time I did this personally, just one-on-one with me, I took 86 product photographs and loaded them to my website in 5 hours. 86. Okay, well, when I back that off, typically I require my employees to list anywhere from 35 to 45 items on the website a day, but they have to post at least 15 items on our feed and 20 on our stories. And then they have to pick the best of those and they have to put them on our online VIP page, which is our group page. Then it's either my job or another online girl's job who just does videos to come in and do the videos. Beyond that, I then have another girl who's totally separate, and her job is only to post it on Pinterest, email, and eBay. So really it depends on what your requirements are. I think if you create your circle first and decide what it is you want in your circle, and if you do not currently have a circle, do not add more than 2 to 3 items to that circle. It's just not going to work otherwise. Then build from there. I would think that somebody who is a photographer who knows what they're doing within 2 weeks should consistently be able, within a 5-hour time frame, do 40 pictures. 35 to 40 pictures. I feel like that's very fair. Jennifer has much more stringent requirements. I know she can definitely comment on here. I have never seen anyone get stuff online the way Jennifer does. I think her people clear easily 100 plus items a day online, and I've seen her site up. It is phenomenal. So she is definitely on the ball. I do have my people post to multiple different platforms during the same day, and mine is also follow through. I do have a $500 requirement. Every single person that works strictly online, their job is to make $500 a day over the week. So it's over the week, not necessarily just that day. Their job is to make $500 a day just for themselves every single day that they work. 5 or 6 hours. I think it's 5 hours. So that is my requirement. And that stays they do a pretty good job consistently. Now, my one store has been lacking a little bit in that. And now in this pandemic, we're really seeing how far lacking we've been. Not necessarily because their fault. You know, a lot of times the tools, please. And I know you guys, if you've heard me talk, you've heard me say this once, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. Please get them the best phone. Whatever the latest, greatest iPhone or whatever phone it is, your employee should have it. Your employee that is posting online should have a better iPhone than you have. Because otherwise, it is just a moot point. They should have the best internet connection, the best phone, and whatever stand or lighting situation they need. They have to have it. So if you have any questions, I'm on here. Oh, Jennifer is watching. I'm telling you, Jennifer could teach seminars. She could teach whole university classes on posting a zillion pieces a day. She is amazing at it. So if you guys have any questions, I'm on here. Let me know. I'll hang out here for another minute. I just really wanted to talk about those 2 things. I know I covered a lot, but just those 2 main things. Number 1, what is it have you learned out of this pandemic? What is glaringly obvious to you out of your business that is obviously very shortfalling and you didn't even realize it, but you do realize it now because you're actually working and doing it? And also, the second thing is what is it that if you do not have an e-commerce site, what can you do to launch one? Now is an excellent time to make those phone calls. Secondly, if you have an e-commerce site, what are things that are or are not working on them? For example, categories, payment options, searchability, coupons. Do you guys do coupons? Do you guys do sales? Do you track them? Do you have a consistency, that goes with that? So, all right, so no other questions. I know you've listened to Neil forever. You've listened to me forever. I always mean to say it for 20 minutes, and it just goes on and on and on. How do you deal with the issue of an item that is online being held by a customer in your store when it sells online? Leslie, I actually do not allow holds in my store, so that's usually not an issue. We do not allow anything to be held in our store, and we actually consistently tell people, they'll come to the counter, and let's just say online has been on fire all night and it's just been going crazy. We just got an item in, and they'll bring it to the counter and they'll be like, could you hold this for me? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, you know what? I need to check and see that item hasn't sold. And they're like, what are you talking about? I know the item hasn't sold because I've already pulled the online orders an hour earlier, but I'm doing that and they're like, oh my gosh, it hasn't sold. And I'm like, no, but, and they're like, well, I'll just pay for it now and then leave it behind the counter. We do create that sense of urgency, and I absolutely have had to go on the floor and pull things out of people's hands because they have sold online. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen occasionally, but it is a lesson learned. You know, it is online, so you better get it. And we have signs all over our store, and we tell people all the time, if you see something with an O, which means it's online, and you really want it, you need to come to the counter and pay for it immediately, because these items are live. You are competing against people you cannot see, and people love competition. All right. Okay. See, Dennis is just blowing us all away. Dennis says that his online photographer photographs 120 items a day. So Dennis, does he post those anywhere else other than the website, or he just does just the website? Dennis, again, is another source that is just insane. And Dennis, I will send you a tube of red lipstick if you want to come on here and talk, because you do an online business that is not shipped. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Dennis does not ship, and he sells tons and tons and tons and tons online. Y'all, there are some major resources on here of people who do some mega money online. So as you are venturing into this, you definitely need to check out Jennifer. Jennifer's category distribution is insanity. She has her category, sizes, and branding to the 9th degree. Dennis can sell, you know, a lamp to someone in Alaska, and they will drive there to pick it up because he's just that good online. I am all about my live videos. Like, I can sell that horrible pair of pants because I really describe them to people exactly how I have them. So, and by the way, I am actually in my llama den. For those of you guys who know me really well, this is all my stuff. I have, yes, like I have a llama den. This is my little area that I decorated. The whole area is decorated in llamas. It's fantastic. I have to show you guys this just because you guys can appreciate it. There is, yes, and my little Chanel books. By the way, I ordered those off of Etsy. I love that. So, those people laugh at me about my llamas. Yes, I really do have I told the interior decorators that I wanted a llama mama den. So, Jana, Judy, not me. Anyway, yes, well, I don't know if Judy can handle it on here. You know, otherwise she's going to have everyone flirting with her. Judy's so pretty and young and cute. Oh, stop, Judy, stop. Well, I can't buy it from you guys because you guys don't ship. Thank goodness, because otherwise I'd have to buy half the furniture that's in your store. And by the way, apparently Judy and I like the same furniture because half the stuff she's consigning that I like is from her house. So, yes, you have fantastic furniture and taste. All right, guys, well, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. If you feel like I overloaded you or if it's just too much, seriously, call your service provider. Who is your service provider? I know there's a lot of them out there. I think Dean has a program. I know there's Consigner Pro. I cannot speak to some of those because I've not physically used them. I have used Traxia and I have used Liberty, and both of them have fantastic options set up, and they are ready and willing. And I know it's just one more fee, and I know you guys are paying it. Do you know that when I was doing my whole setup, speaking of, you know, learning things and all of this, I set up all the stuff and made a whole list of stuff that I had to remove immediately. And then a whole list of stuff that I didn't, you know, need. My program was at top 4 of things that I absolutely needed. And by the way, they are working around the clock. I know they are busting their behinds to get this done and to help you guys go online. If you start this now, by the time you reopen, whether it is 8 days from now or 80 days, God willing, it will not be 80 days, but 8 days or a couple weeks, you will see an immediate. And it also is something new and fresh. Wouldn't you love to come out of this pandemic and tell people we have launched a new store? It's a really good way to go. Dennis, stop it. Stop. Actually, though, I think Judy should fly down. We can't fly down now. Flying is, Judy should drive it to me. That way Judy can come shopping in the store. She's tiny enough to fit in everything. All right, guys, have a fantastic afternoon and evening. Oh, and there was one more thing I was going to tell you. Sorry, ADHD over here. So, live videos. Who else except me is so burnt out that I literally walk into my store and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this another day. Okay, so you have rounders, racks, displays, housewares, vignettes. Stop making it difficult. If you need to do a live video, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. My store looks like a 15-year-old's closet that she couldn't find anything to wear in. I am not exaggerating. I'm going to do a video before we reopen. It is such a hot mess. But what we have been doing is just going to the rounders and just going around the rounders and showcasing the rounders and just being so excited about that item that we have had for a year and a half, and it's fabulous. And today it's only $8. We have been doing quite a bit of money online. It is definitely not enough to float our stores. That's not a question. So please don't be, all discouraged all of a sudden. It is not, but it has definitely, if your brain just can't go there after all day and all this stuff that's happening, just go to your rounders. As long as they're leaving us in our store, if they mandate you to stay home, don't worry about it. But if they are allowing you in your store and you need to do a live video and you just cannot come up with fresh content because your brain is shut off, that is okay. Just go to a rounder, go to a vignette, start with the vignette and show every single thing on it. So we have, in my small store, we have, I think, 38, we counted 38 racks worth of clothing. And we have done, I think, like 8 racks. I can't remember, 8 or 9 racks in completion. And we are selling exactly half of every rack, which is awesome. Awesome. I feel like I am completely dead at the end of the day, but it is awesome. So get those websites up. Learn it. Do not try to do it all in the same day. Pick different days. Number one, if you have none of this, you need to go online right now and check out everybody's website and decide the things you do and do not like. Get a piece of paper and write it down. If you already have a website, you need to get on your website. You need to shop your website. I want you to go and try to buy 5 things off your website right now and see how fluid or frustrated you get. I do this all the time, and then I call Liberty, and I think Russell's going to take me off his messenger because I'm like, so last night at 1:30, I didn't really like this. Do you think you could take it off? And he's like, mm-hmm. So I've worked with both Traxia and Liberty. They are both fantastic programs, and they are here to help you. So go harass both of them tomorrow. Bye.